So in my video, y'all, I talked about the Deshaun Watson case or whatever the case may be. There's one person that stands out. I talked about the media, the last one I did. And there's one person who particularly stands out, and I'm going to show y'all why. Molly Qerim, formerly Molly Qerim Rose. That is the person who stands out the most to me. And I'll explain to y'all why. Here's a clip from early on in the Deshaun Watson case, y'all. When she, from First Take.
NFL spokesperson Brian McCarthy said last week that the matter is under review pertaining to the league's personal conduct policy, and the Texans said in a statement that they would stay in close contact with the NFL during its investigation. Stephen A., before I kick things off to you, let me just say this quickly here.
Sure.
So I've been in sports since 2006. Before I came to ESPN, I don't know, I've been here 5 or 6 years now. I was at NFL Network for about 4 years. Huge NFL fan, followed it very closely all along. Mm-hmm. Given the seriousness and quantity of these allegations, we're talking 14 lawsuits, 24 total claims, we're only 10 days in. I personally, as a woman, would like to hear more from the NFL. The matter is under review is just simply not enough. I understand it is too early for findings. I understand there's a process, but based on the history, you need to show us that there's a real process taking place, a real investigation, some transparency, that you take these matters seriously. We've discussed this before. 6 years ago, the NFL brought in Lisa Friel and other women and created a committee. I mean, are these just talking points, or are these actual resources to address this behavior? This happened after the NFL failed women with the Ray Rice situation. So we have an opportunity here to be proactive rather than reactionary. And that's been the knock against the NFL. You can get in front of it, you can acknowledge it, you can condemn the behavior, and you can address it. And I want to take it one step further, and then obviously want you guys to react and what you think the NFL should do here. If I'm also the NFL, I'm putting Deshaun Watson on the commissioner's exempt list. I look at it this way. He's getting protected. He's getting paid. But he needs to lay low, and they need to deal with this. And when and if his name is cleared, then he can return. But when I'm saying 24 total claims against him, you can't have this man on a football field right now. Max, if this was you or this was you, Stephen A., you wouldn't be on First Take today. So address it. He can continue to get paid, and he can return when he clears his name. Again, an opportunity for the NFL to show that they respect women, they protect women. 47% of the NFL audience, that's nearly half, is women. So we support you, and we need to know that you support us.
And then you got this from when Deshaun Watson signed his contract with the Cleveland Browns around April or May.
Y'all voices are incredibly, incredibly profound as it pertains to what punishment should come down the pike. I really, really feel that way. And so when I'm thinking about the National Football League, right, here's my issue. Here's my question to y'all. At some point in time, again, what do you think should happen? Because we're talking business ethics, and we're talking about the NFL lacking it, but we're also talking about a female audience out there that is profound. They're incredibly potent. You can affect the bottom line. And so if the NFL is sitting back and they're saying the legal system has made its decision, as a result, we can't prohibit him from playing in this league in our estimation. Well, what do you do about that? Come with a definitive answer.
To me, it's still premature, because we don't. There's 22 lawsuits. There's 22 civil suits. I don't know whether he's won or lost. That's why I think it's premature by the Cleveland Browns to give this man the most guaranteed money ever, $230 million.
Okay, fair enough.
So we don't have those answers. So let me just say that.
Okay.
So first of all, I already think the rule is egregious in terms of 6 games for abusing children, women, sexual assault, domestic violence. All right, that rule needs to be changed. That's a minimum of 1 season. So Deshaun Watson, if all these 22 women lied on him and he wins every civil case, right? All 22 of them, go for it, break the bank. But that's not where we are right now, and we need more information. We need more information also from the Browns on how they got here, how the NFL got here to make this decision. To answer your question, Stephen A., and I understand it's a direct question, I just wanted to make those points, but as far as Deshaun Watson in terms of punishment, if he's losing these cases, he should not be playing this entire season. Maybe 2 season.
Okay, but no.
And that's why they gave him. That's why he only loses $1 million, Stephen A. Because they know punishment might come down. $1 million when you're about to get 220.
No.
That's a slap in the face to all women everywhere. I just need to say something. If he is guilty, Stephen A. Right? If he loses these cases, he's going to lose. They protected him, so he gets all his money.
But I'm still asking the question.
I told you a season.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN.
You see, with Molly Qerim, whenever these situations come out, a lot of people have a problem with the fact that she talks over people or whatever the case may be, and that you're put there to be a moderator and you're such an opinionated moderator or whatever the case may be. And a lot of people have a problem with that. But here's my problem with Molly Qerim. I'm going to list a few names. Ben Roethlisberger, Robert Kraft, Daniel Snyder. These guys, their names escape me. But the owner of the Clippers, prior to their new Steve, whatever his name, Ballmer, the one that was prior to that, who said the racist stuff about and how he was treating his mistress and how he was treating his wife or whatever the case may be, said the racist stuff about Magic Johnson. And the owner of the Phoenix Suns, and even to a lesser extent, Mark Cuban. Not that he did anything that was against the rules, but his staff were making women uncomfortable in the workplace. There was no emotion, no tears when you spoke about them. But when it came to Ray Rice, which this was, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, and Deshaun Watson, your voice is cracking and you're tearing up and you're what up with that? What's good with that? If this is about the betterment of women and you're talking about the NFL has failed women, shouldn't you have that same energy for these people, these powerful billionaires, or this white quarterback, or whatever the case may be? You were married to a black man, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not asking you to give preferential treatment because these guys are black. That's not what I'm asking you to do. All right? I'm not justifying what Ray Rice did. All right? I'm not justifying any of that. In that situation, we need to learn how to respect each other and stop putting our hands on each other. That woman, we never talk about this. That woman hit her husband too and spit on him. Okay? That's not justifying that he should have punched her in her face. But you ain't supposed to put your hands on somebody, especially if you can't whoop their ass. And to spit on somebody is one of the most disrespectful things that any person could do to another person. All right? We don't talk about that. We talk about the destination whenever it comes to these women. We talk about how we talk about where we got to, not how we got there. All right? Ladies and gentlemen, as I stated on the last video about Deshaun Watson, we're talking about a situation where a man asks for a trade, and then out of nowhere, all of these women came out of the woodworks, all in the Houston area, out of nowhere, now ready to try to have him charged. And when they tried to have him charged, what did they say? What was the findings? Now, if we're talking about the criminal part, if he has pending criminal cases, I can understand what you're saying. But if we're talking about lawsuits, we've just seen in recently where a woman sued Geico because she caught an STD. She caught an STD in someone's car who had Geico insurance. She sued them for $5.2 million and won. We've seen someone sue Red Bull because it didn't give them wings for real and win. And this is what you're telling us, that we should base this man's present and future off of the fact that these women are suing him. And let me put it to you this way: in the case that he wins, and let's say he wins 7-5, you know what you would do? You would look at the 5 individuals and say, because you're clearly skewed in one direction, okay? Because you would look at the 5 individuals who see him as being guilty and try to shine the light on that, rather than the 7 that see him as. But you're saying you should base it whether he base his present and his future based off of whether he wins these cases. All right, there are going to be women on those juries if it was to go to court, but it's not going to court. They've settled. It's not an admission of guilt. But look at you. You're clearly skewed in one direction, which is probably the ultimate reason, because women are seen as these victims in these cases, and never mind all the circumstances of how this shit came out and when it came out. Now, you're saying that it should affect his present and his future, right? But the team also just settled. The Houston Texans also just settled with 30 of those same women. So should they be suspended for 11 months now? For 11 games? Should the Houston Texans not be able to play games for 11 games? Should Daniel Snyder, until he has everything situated, should Washington not be able to play games so it can hit his pockets? No, because if it hits his pockets, it hits the whole NFL. That's why y'all don't want to talk about it. That's why it doesn't feed into your pockets as well. You don't want to talk about that. There's no emotion when that shit come out. But these 2 black men that you decided to bring up, you have plenty of emotion to go around for them. And this is why I say the media is fucked up. It's fucked up. Because an accusation about a black man automatically, in a court of public opinion, makes him guilty. Even though the people that we trust to handle law says there's not enough to charge this man, to indict him with anything. But now, since that didn't work out, now you want him to be held out based off of civil cases, when we have stupid ass civil cases being won right now. Show off.